Hello, welcome to the self-learning platform by Dr. Sushma Singh. Today we start Unit 8, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Let us have introduction about the unit. The primary objective of this unit is to understand and critically appreciate the political thought of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, as well as the influence he had in the historiography of Western political thought. Rousseau was a brilliant philosopher, proactive, equally controversial, and highly critical of his times. A modern Ploffinthian, he inspired the French Revolution. He lived in the age of reason, French Enlightenment, and while he attacked the ancient regime, he was also critical of the Enlightenment. He is best remembered for his concept of popular sovereignty and the theory of general will, which provides a philosophical justification for democratic governance. Rousseau seems to be straddling two traditions of political theorizing at the same time. While his language belongs to the will and artifice tradition, the import of his writings clearly favors organic theory of state. As a result, he has been interpreted in diverse and often contradictory ways, for he is at once an individualist and a collectivist, an incomparable democrat and an apotheosis of modern totalitarianism. Rousseau wrote lucidly and prolifically. His writings can be classified into two periods. The first period saw discourse on the sciences and arts and discourse on the origin of inequality, wherein Rousseau attacks the morally decadent Essene regime, but lends only a qualified support to modernity, lamenting and unauthoriness of reason. The eclipse of sentiments and the corruption of humanity brought about by advancements in arts and sciences, and appears as a romantic rebel castigating civil society for its injustices. In the second phase, that saw the social contract, Rousseau is more sober, in tune with the age of reason, no longer tearing down society but building it up the rationalist way. There thus seems to be a logical discrepancy between the two periods. This is understandable as the moods are different, but there is no contradiction as his purpose is clear: to provide a philosophical justification for democratic governance. The first phase is a prelude to second, that saw the theory of general will. To understand his purpose and theory, we need to begin with Rousseau the man and his times. Now let us discuss life and time of Rousseau. Rousseau was born of a poor family in Geneva. Rousseau's mother died a few days after giving birth to him, and his father was unable to raise Rousseau in any coherent fashion. From the age of 12, he was apprenticed to various masters, but he failed to establish himself in any trade or art. For most of his life, he remained in poverty, surviving by dint of his ingenuity and benevolence of women. For temporary material advantages, he even changed his religion and accepted charity from people he detested. In 1744, he went to Paris, tried his hands at various schemes: the theatre, opera, music, poetry, without making much success of anything. Yet his personality opened for him the doors of the best saloons in Paris, where he met leading encyclopedists as well as influential, charming women, with several of whom he maintained close relations. But he shunned the exalted society, never shedding his plebeian puritanical background of a low middle class family. Rousseau lived at a time when the absolutist federal order presided over by Louis XV reigned France. Political power, privilege, and social prestige was the monopoly of the king, clergy, and the nobility, who lived extravagantly at the expense of the masses, engaged in a grim battle of survival. Having been denied even the minimum required of decent living by the corrupt and inefficient bureaucracy of the king, discontent was rampant, and the desire for change had created a climate of defiance. Sharing the discontent and the desire for change was a new emergent class of the French bourgeoisie, which found the extant order too restrictive for its own development and had joined hands with the peasantry. In shaping the climate of opinion and the spirit of dissent against the ancient regime, the French Enlightenment played a major role. Enlightenment judged everything based on reason and experience alone. Inevitably, it brought under attack many things that had hitherto been taken for granted, including the church and the traditional political institutions of France. Rousseau shared some of the Enlightenment ideas, but not wholly, insofar as the philosophies desired change, pinned their faith in man as a free agent, Rousseau was with him, but he did not share their idea of progress implied in their modernity and had greater regard for feeling than respect for rationality. Rousseau believed that the part of which was wrong with modern man is that he had lost touch with his feelings. Philosophy's insensitivity towards feelings and ambition led him to revolt against reason. Next point is revolt against reason. Rousseau attacked enlightenment in a prize winning essay written in 1749 on the question: has the progress of science and arts contributed to corrupt or purify morality? Rousseau argued that science was not saving but bringing moral ruin upon us. Progress was an illusion, while what appeared to be advancement was in reality regression. The arts of civilized society served only to cast garlands of flowers over the chains men bore. The development of modern civilization had not made men either happier or more virtuous. Virtue was possible in a simple society where men lived austere and frugal lives. In the modern sophisticated society, man was corrupted, and greater the sophistication, the greater the corruption. As for the grand Baconian hope of creating abundance on earth, Rousseau saw more evil than good in it. Abundance to him spelt luxury, and luxury was notoriously the breeder of corruption. Luxury undermined nations as it undermines men. Athens, the center of vices, was doomed to perish because of its elegance, luxury, wealth, art, and sciences. He also found support in human Roman history. So long as Rome was poor and simple, she was able to command respect and conquer an empire. After having developed luxury and engulfed the riches of universe, Rome fell prey to peoples who knew not even what riches were. Rousseau argued that one mind has have been corrupted in proportion as the arts and sciences have improved. The much venerated politeness, the glory of civilized refinement, was for Rousseau a uniform and perfidious veil under which he saw jealousy, suspicion, fear, wildness, reverse, hate, and fraud. Against intelligence, the growth of knowledge, and the progress of sciences, which the Enlightenment believed to be the only hope of civilization. Rousseau set amiable and benevolent sentiments, the goodwill and the reverses. He privileged sentiments and conscience over reason, and proposed that all moral valuations he had done on the basis of sentiments. Intelligence was dangerous because it undermined reverence. Science was destructive because it takes away faith. Reason was bad because it sets prudence against moral intuition. Without reverence, faith, and moral intuition, there is neither character nor society.